A very good morning to all our dear viewers, and a very warm and hearty welcome to each one of you. Mark Twain said, and I quote, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started. And the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. For the goal of education is the advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth." So felt John F. Kennedy. Ladies and gentlemen, we should always stress on the fact that if we want small changes, we should work on our behavior. If we want quantum leap changes, we should work on our paradigms. Myself, Joya Khan, your host this morning from Getty as Ambassador of Change, I bring greetings on behalf of the Global Education and Training Institute and welcome you all on board. That's Getty All About, which is a name to reckon with, where excellence is a continuous process and not an accident, where the things you do for yourself are gone, but the things you do for others remain your legacy. I'm a doer, a dreamer, a thinker. I see possibility everywhere. That describes our deeply revered mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. And it's an immense honor to share that Getty is founded and conceptualized by Dr. Sunita Gandhi, a pioneer with a broad vision of disruptive education. Ma'am's tireless perseverance and efforts has enabled her to carve a niche for herself and has placed Getty on a high pedestal as one of the premium training institutes of India. Under it, we provide two types of training: one pre service for the aspiring teachers who wish to be outstanding teachers in future, and the other in service, where we train teachers who are already in service. On these live forums, we conduct live talks under the banner Detox, where we invite bureaucrats, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and renowned speakers from all around the globe to enlighten us with varied educational practices carried out as agents of change. We are continuously striving to bring about transformation and changes in education through our constant endeavors. This morning, I feel extremely privileged to have with us on board Miss Antigoni Melidonioti, teacher, trainer, and school owner. The Antigoni Melidonioti School, English Language School, Kozani, Greece. Miss Antigoni Melidonioti, an EFL CELTA teacher. She is a teacher trainer, oral examiner, and owner of a small private English institute in Greece. She has been working with young learners, teenagers, as well as adults for the past 22 years from all over the world. She is an advocate of CPT with numerous seminars in LDS, gamification, flipped learning, online web tools, and recently neuro learning power in teaching, aiming to become more effective while keeping abreast with the rapid changes in our communities, local and global. Our eminent speaker has graciously consented to enlighten us by sharing her views on the topic: sign language gestures, a signature to your teaching. Dear viewers, sign language is a non-verbal means of communication employing hand gestures, symbols, and movements, body language, facial expressions instead of spoken words. And in today's fast paced life, when we are rushing around, even in our text messages, we are using sign languages. So I think It saves time, it communicates what we want, it is able to just strike the right chord in a busy and racing world. So we have Ma'am with us, and without taking much of your time, I hand over the show to you for Ma'am to emphasize the use of sign language in the classroom. Over to you, ma'am. Once again, a very warm welcome.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Joya Khan and the Getty Institute and the Disruptive Education Movement for having me here with you. It has been a great honor to work with you and share my latest inspiration in the classroom. And I would like to invite all of you to reflect as educators, as teachers, how it is to deal with young learners in the classroom, a large number of children with various needs. And I think we can all have an idea what this is like. And one of the main goals of ours is to focus, to have people focused in the classroom. Therefore, we need attention. And what is attention? It is the ability to actively process specific information in the environment while tuning out other details. Okay, sometimes this is easier said than done. Attention is limited, and in terms of both capacity and duration, so it is important to have ways to effectively manage the attentional resources we have available in order to make sense. Well, in a nutshell, it especially when it comes to dealing with large groups of students and especially younger levels, this attention span is way too limited. And we need to make sure that we eliminate all kinds of distractions in order to increase this and, of course, to increase memory. How many times have we heard parents or even children say, I cannot remember anything. What do you remember? Nothing. And well, of course, this is not true, but truth lies behind this, and we need to make sure we enhance both the attention span and the memory. And memory refers to the processes that are used to acquire, store, retain, and of course later retrieve information. And this is why there are three major processes involved in memory: encoding, storage, and retrieval. And of course, the human memory involves the ability to both preserve and recover information. So, how and why is this important in what we're going to talk about? As I have mentioned before, classroom reality, especially in Greece, we have, and in the UK that I have worked, constant breaks for water, bathroom, or miss, can you say it again? I didn't understand that, are the reality in the classroom. And of course, what are the results? We have constant breaks, which of course always block the attention span. There's always there's the constant distraction, not from just one person, but from multiple people. And this, of course, will lead to constant repetitions from the teacher's point of view, which sometimes are not the repetitions required in the educational process. As a result, the teaching goals are not met. How many times, I wonder how many of us have have had problems with the time. We haven't had the time to fulfill our lesson plan. And of course, I cannot imagine how many of us have felt inadequate when this happens. Well, and to make matters worse, the results are not very positive. We have confusion. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that, I didn't get it. And this is also leading to uncertainty on the part of the learner's part. And of course, it will lead to guilt, because they will feel that it is their fault, that they have been confused, that they are not certain. And of course, in the long run, it will lead to loss of interest to the lesson, and we will then be facing with a highly demotivated learner. And this is something that no one wants. So, recently what happens? How do we deal with this? For the past 20 years, I have been using frequent breaks in my classroom. Let's take a 5-minute break and get back to it. And I'm sure that all of you from all over the world have dealt with the same issue and have come up with some magical ideas. For me, the inspiration this year has come from a training course I have been attending on neural learning power from Metamothesis, when we talked about how to boost our greetings, the way we introduce ourselves in the classroom in order to make it more lively. So the inspiration came from my learning, from my training course, and the use of Makaton. Well, it was the first time I had ever heard the word Makaton. And what is Makaton? It's a language program that uses signs together with speech and symbols to enable people to communicate. It supports the development of essential communication skills such as attention, listening, comprehension, memory, and expressive speech and language. Well, for this reason, I thought it would be a great idea to use it, but not to boost the welcoming process in my classroom. I have already had another thing about that. But what if I used Makaton, the sign language, as a sign language in order to facilitate basic needs in my classroom? So this is what I did. Like all of us, I went online. Well, Google is our friend after all. And I turned theory into practice. And then I started applying simple gestures like hello, hello, or a very basic thing, water. Kids need to hydrate. It is important for everyone to hydrate, especially for young children. And we've all experienced situations in our classrooms when we are highly focused and we're trying really hard to get the message across, when we see a hand raising and our hearts are full of joy, hoping that it's a very important question. And what is the question? Miss, can I go and have some water, please? And then the whole edifice collapses. The attention span fails, falls apart, and then we have to take things back from square one. So water, and then toilet, then next big issue. And of course, help. Oh, excuse me. And this gesture, the yes, is not for the learners, but for the teacher, for me. So I have been using the same sign language signs with my students. I do not consider myself any different from them. And then we have the goodbye. Well, the outcome. To be honest, I did not expect such an enthusiastic welcome from my students' part. And it was not just in their, because they told me so, but I discovered it. How? Let me go back to the water sign. Well, my youngsters had been practicing the signs on their own in their waiting room. And now we don't have this sign for water. We have this sign. I have no idea how it came, but they had been practicing it and they came up with a new sign for water. So in my classroom, this is the water sign. Do I mind? No. Because I'm not teaching sign language. I'm an English teacher. And I have been using sign language as a means to reduce distractions. Well, and yes, I have less distractions because it is nonverbal. And it can be done while other people are talking, while other people are working. And especially to young children, this has led to less guilt feelings. It was a great shock to me when I had a mother instruct her children to try to make sure that they do not raise their hands for water or using the bathroom, because it would ruin the lesson. And then I felt guilty that I had not predicted it. But now this is not an issue anymore. In reality, it has made my students feel more relaxed. It has made them more focused, since they no longer feel the need to compress some of their basic physical needs. They know they can practice. They can ask me without asking. And of course, without being the target or the center of the classroom. In my classrooms, I'm sorry for not mentioning it before, are mixed classrooms. This means that I have children with learning disabilities or who are autistic or with other learning syndromes. And this is quite challenging many times, because these children feel already inferior, and the guilt part is augmented in their psychological background. And you can imagine what a relief it was when they didn't have to constantly raise their hands to ask for permission to go out and have some water or use the bathroom. They were no longer the target. They were no longer the children who disrupted classroom. As a result, this made them more functional and more productive. Not only that, but they were able to concentrate better and to cooperate with their peers. In a nutshell, I have now more happier students. The classroom runs smoothly, everybody's happy, and most importantly, since the gestures are centered, self-centered, they are right in front of them, they are practiced right in front of them, it's sometimes they are not noticeable by the others. So this has made everyone feel far more relieved. And when I started practicing it, when I started experimenting on it, it was just an experiment. But now I couldn't be happier with this outcome. I feel more relaxed. As a teacher, I feel more relaxed. Attention, try to use, it's very important to pay attention to everyone in the classroom so that we pay attention to the sign language. But even when sometimes my attention is focused on somebody else, a miss will do the trick. I will take a look at the learner and respond with a yes. You may have noticed that I'm not using the no sign gesture, because for the things I have in my mind, the no is not an option. Now, many of us, or many of you will, and I say us because when I started experimenting, this is what I tried to focus on. How do I choose the sign language gestures? Which gestures should I use? Well, to be honest, I have no clear answer on that. As far as I'm concerned, it is the classroom needs that will define everyone's choice. So the level is a very significant factor. I mean, I don't think sign language can be useful in a classroom, an adult classroom, or among teenagers, or in very small classrooms when, again, it comes to teenagers. But for younger levels, I truly believe that now it is essential. Another criteria to choose the gestures are what are the specific needs of each classroom and each educator. And on that, I have no saying, because India is a vast country with a very various terrain and multiple traditions. And just like Greece, which is a tiny country, but the needs vary from region to region. And when it comes to educators, we all have a specific plan in mind. So I think we are all experienced enough to evolve, to get started from this. And for my mind, trial and error has been the best practice. Now, and of course, what are the aims? What is the reason we will use the gestures for? For me, the most important reasons for using Makaton language was to cover the three basic needs: hydration, using the bathroom, and can you please repeat it? I don't understand. I need help. And for these three questions, can you repeat? I don't understand and I need help. I'm using only one gesture, the help. Why? Because it's not important to learn. For me, Makaton is just the means to an end. It's not my goal. It's not what I've been teaching. I need a help sign just to go from there, to start talking. And I need it so that my students feel calmer, will not feel stressed, will not feel judged by their peers that they did not understand. So it's just a secret code between the students and me. Now, another criterion I have come across by discussing it with other colleagues is, can I use it on face-to-face? I know we can use it on face-to-face, you have told us, but how about an online environment? We've all experienced the pandemic, and many of us are still partly on online teaching, and I think online teaching is here to stay. And to tell you the truth, although I did not believe that sign language, Makaton, the way I use it in my classroom, would be used in an online environment, well, it has been proven that it can be used. I was recently quarantined with COVID, so all my classrooms were online, and I couldn't be happier when I saw some students of mine doing this. And they had my approval. So again, it worked like a charm. It was nonverbal, it was quick, it was efficient. The classroom kept running in an online mode, and the results again were happier, more productive, children willing to collaborate and share. Okay, another issue that has affected me, I have spent quite some time thinking about it, is the number of gestures. And then NLP came with the right answer. And the answer is as simple as that. Well, we all know about the memory and what short memory is. Well, short memory is the memory we all use to store short pieces of information so we can use them and go on. And of course, it's short, and everything has to be short and as few as possible. So the magical number 7 plus or minus 2 from the Miller law, as it is known, has given me the answer. And this is why in my presentation you didn't see many gestures. As I have already mentioned, I'm not a sign language teacher. To be honest, I had no idea of sign language. Okay, I know it. I have been experiencing it as a human being, but I'm not practicing it. I have minimum knowledge of that matter. So it goes the same for my students, because I have no students with hearing problems, but I have students with ADHD. I have students with dyslexia. I have students with other syndromes, where, and all this, I know how difficult it makes learning. So I try to keep it as limited as possible. This is why I chose to keep it to the basics, to the basic needs of my school. Let me be clear. It is up to the individual to come up with the formula that will facilitate each of your needs. So don't be afraid to go online. Trust me, Google and YouTube are great sources. This is where I got everything for for implementing this tactic in my classroom. Feel free to contact me uh, so we can share thoughts and experiences. And once again, I would like to thank you for your great hospitality and the great honor of having me and sharing my personal experiences using sign language in an English language school. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Very, very valid and relevant points taken up. As you said, you have taken up the basic points where you have observed that use of sign language makes your classroom much more interesting. Less distraction is there, more of concentration, cooperation. The children seem to be more focused, relaxed, and the working is more functional, productive. You also have dealt with specially abled children. And that's something very challenging where I think the sign language plays a very, very important role.
Yes, it
As you
has.
need as you need a lot of patience, a lot of empathy, affection, and that extra warmth to care for the learners, and because they are also very sensitive, so
Exactly.
that's an extremely challenging task that you have taken up, and you have focused upon Makaton. That's just wonderful. You have touched upon the basic points uh, very relevantly. And we can't deny that sign language is a complete language with its own vocabulary, grammar, and word order, as well as its own social beliefs. Behavior is also a matter of point. It also has an artistic fact about it, a history of values attached. And I think, ma'am, just like any other way of communication, sign language also is based on facial expressions. I think they are very important. It's a key factor. So we should always use our face expressions to express our gestures, because with our face, with our smile, with our frowns, with a little, twitch of an eyebrow, a raise, a lift in the chin, we convey a lot to our learners, to the people whom we are meeting every day. And we should never, never be afraid to use our facial expressions. I think so. And we should never give up in case we feel that somewhere we are not able to communicate. We should find innovative ways to communicate what we mean and what we wish to communicate, because communication is very important in each and every language, be it gestures or sign language. As it is beautifully said, and I quote, that sign language is about seeing the voices rather than hearing them. And just learning to think in another language allows you to see your own culture in a better view. Great thinkers have also said the signs are to eyes what words are to ears. So, and to quote that Nobel laureate, Mother Teresa, she said, peace begins with a smile. And I think all over the globe, we smile in the same language. And the language of our smile is sure to reach the hearts. So I am very sure that our dear viewers have benefited with Ma'am's beautiful, interesting, and a different presentation, which we all need to ponder upon. And our viewers have been very interested in listening to us. And there are some other viewers who will be eventually seeing the show, and they will also have some lovely takeaways. So, ma'am, thank you so much for that engaging session, for your valuable inputs. We look forward to having you sometime again with another interesting session. We were honored to have you with us this day. Thank you so much, ma'am. With this, I
Yeah, no
sign off.
problem.
Stay blessed, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.